Hi guys, hello and welcome to the THQ podcast. So this is a special episode, just literally a Q&A. I put a post in the group and I come back, I got a lot of questions, so I'm going to go over them now. So Julie asks, the areas that I would be interested in you covering are the importance of water and drinking the right amount and how it affects our performance. So that's a good question because a lot of us struggle to drink enough water. So the simplest way I can say is stop relying on going to the tap. So if we buy a 2 litre bottle of water, we've got that accountability, we can get that into our head and that into our daily routine where we pretty much don't leave the house without a 2 litre bottle of water. That's a habit, an actual thing that we can put into our life so that we can just do it all the time. And we're more likely to obviously drink more water if we've bought the bottle of water and we've got that on us. The type of water does make a difference. So the quality of water seems to be better. It's going to hydrate us better. It's got better electrolytes and it tastes probably a little bit smoother, a little bit nicer. So it makes more sense to have more quality water. But regards to performance and body transformation, it's going to help if you're more hydrated because you're going to be less hungry. So your body's going to function better if you are more hydrated. But from a performance point of view, yeah, 100%, because if you're dehydrated, you're going to cramp very easy. Your muscles are going to fatigue quicker. So if your muscles are fatiguing quicker, then you're not going to perform better on each and every set. So it makes sense to be hydrated. And you don't need to worry too much. Like, I can give you specific numbers, and we give specific numbers of how much water you should drink. But I like to think, just drink when you're thirsty. If you get into a good habit, now average person should be aiming for about 4 litres of water a day. That's a good amount. You might need more, you might need less, and it's going to depend as well on your body weight. Okay, so I don't really want to give too much exact numbers now because a lot of things come into play as well as what ability you're at with your training sessions, how much you're actually pushing yourself. There's loads of different ways, but I would say the majority of us should aim for at least 4 litres of water a day. Buy 2 litre bottles of water, and that should be plenty. So you don't need to obsess about it too much, but if you're dehydrated, your body will let you know, definitely. You might be able to get away from day to day of being dehydrated and not fancying a drink, but as soon as you come into the gym and start training, you start to get cramp and you start to perform worse, then you realise that dehydration is setting quite a bit. So yeah, that is very important. So Julie's next question is how to fit in and what changes to make to your lifestyle if you're involved in training and an active sport, e.g. golf, rugby, football, running, etc., and attending THQ at the same time. Surely you must have to tweak the diet to continue to perform at a high level outside THQ. So yeah, if for an athlete, then obviously, it needs to be more, everything would have to be more specific around that sport, and weight training and strength training, something like THQ, would be something that they have to manage around their sport, around their training environment. But if we're talking to the average person that generally, who's going to be attending THQ, wants to get fitter, wants to get stronger, and then has a sport outside THQ that they do want to perform better at, then yes, your calories need to be adjusted to it. But I would always say, you need to get your daily discipline habits. So sitting down, eating frequent meals of protein, vegetables and carbohydrates, a little bit of fat in there as well. Eating the quality food is really consistent, is all you really need to worry about, and then you monitor your performance levels. So like on your training sessions, with your weight training sessions, you should be performing better and you should be getting stronger and feeling better each and every time. If you're not, adding an extra meal from that decent habit. And on days that you're then doing your sport, you're adding an extra meal like that. So it becomes of how many calories that we actually need. Again, that's going to vary, but making sure that you're actually you've got your daily disciplined habits. So when you do your sport outside there, you have an extra meal or maybe 2 extra meals, and you get better as long as you're monitoring your weight, monitoring your performance and you're not actually gaining too much body fat, then it's not really going to, it doesn't really matter. But again, eating quality food, sitting down eating that, you're going to use more quality food, you'll use it more in your performance side because your body's going to perform better, so you're less likely to store body fat anyway. If we need to get a little bit more specific, I'll be happy to obviously work out some of your calories, Julie, so we can see, right, on training days, you need this amount of calories, because that's what we'll have to monitor. We'll have to monitor your performance. And then we can say, right, on your training days plus when you do your sport, you're going to need this much calories. So you're going to need X amount. But to make sure, again, that we don't gain too much body fat, on days that you do a little bit less, I'd probably bring your calories down quite a bit so we can balance your calories over the 7 days, because there's always going to be a max of how many calories we actually use depending on your performance levels. And, you know, when you're trying, you need to obviously really focus on exactly what you want out of your transformation. So whatever your transformation, whatever your goal is, we work hard for you to achieve that. But when you're trying to perform better, as well as look better, it becomes two completely different things, and it becomes having to choose which one you want more to achieve your goal. So if your goal is to generally look good, like you just want to look in the mirror and you want to look good, then we work out your calories and it's a lot easier for us to do that. If we have to add in more calories for energy on certain times when you're exercising, that may affect a little bit of how your body looks if you want to, but you're improving your performance. But if you look at it from the whole perspective, like take a look back and you think how you're actually going to look and perform, compared to the average person, if you're taking into account and you're overthinking all this and you're doing all this, you're going to look amazing anyway. So it's not really going to, it's not going to be such a big thing. But that would be my advice on that of what to do. So Julie's next question is portion size and control. What is acceptable and the differences for male and female? For example, my steak that I eat will be different to what Julie eats, her steak. So yeah, again, at the start of your transformation, it's starting to sit down and eat quality food, eating them meals and making sure that you feel full and energized. Naturally listen to your body. If you prioritize in that meal of having plenty of vegetables, so plenty of fiber, a decent protein source, meats or fish, and then maybe some carbohydrates or some fats around that meal, if you prioritize that, you will just naturally just feel full. And then you stop and you listen to your body and you get better and better at doing that. As your transformation progresses, we then look at counting calories. So this is, everybody at some point should track calories. You don't have to do it forever, but it's the only way that we can teach you portion size and portion control, and you can teach yourself that as well. So yes, my amount of meat that I would have on my plate would be a lot bigger than the average females, how much they would need. But again, once the transformation progresses, if you would like me to do that, Julie, I'll do that now for you, if you like. So we just need your weight in pounds, and then I'll work out your calories based on your activity level and a few other factors that you're going to give me. And then I will say, right, you need to eat this much protein, this much fats, this much carbs. And then you will get better at preparing a meal. Right, well, that takes up my protein intake, and that takes up my fiber intake, that takes up my carb intake, and then until you realize how much, then you're like, right, well, I've hit my calories, so that's food. So you do that consistently for a couple of weeks, you start to understand the volume of food that you need for you to perform well and feel good and satisfied. Again, we work out your baseline calories, and then again, it becomes a coaching element. We might need to tweak things and things like that, but it's the communication, so I'll be happy to assist you with that. Does it matter how much vegetables I eat? No, you can eat as much vegetables as you possibly like. Obviously, having that much fiber, it could be, and there's something in green vegetables as well that if you do eat too much, you are becoming a little bit bloated and just feel a little bit crap. But to be honest, I think for the average person listening and watching this, you probably don't eat enough fiber anyway or eat enough vegetables. So definitely at the start of a transformation while you're embedding them habits, just power your plate up with vegetables, fill yourself up, feel full. You probably won't eat as much vegetables as what I do. I eat loads of vegetables, and I'm quite good at it. I don't necessarily feel really bloated or anything like that. I seem to sort of handle it quite well because I hate being hungry, and I generally just like lots of different vegetables. So I do still have frozen veg and things like that, so you don't have to overcomplicate it, but I do generally enjoy eating lots of veg. So yeah, so definitely do not worry about how many vegetables you're eating. So Darren asks, could you provide clarification on dairy free? It is understood it reduces bloat, but is that just certain dairy foods? Now, I want to get everybody sort of in line with this, right? The only time we ever ask somebody to cut out dairy is 6 weeks before the end of their photo shoot, because some people hold water a little bit more, they could become a little bit more smoother because they've got a lack of they've got an intolerance to dairy. Generally, we found that generally 80-90% of the people that do our shoot look better when they cut out dairy. So more as a precaution, we don't want people to sort of have gone all into the process, get the picture back, and they just look a little bit smooth and a little bit flat, and they don't pump up how we want them to look, and we don't give them the best result that we could have done. So we ask people to just cut it out because generally people don't tolerate it as well as what we'd like. However, so to answer your question, though, Darren, to say certain types of dairy, I would just, as it's more of a precaution, just cut out all dairy. Again, you can argue what a little bit of milk in my brew, is that really going to make a difference? And if it comes down to, look, just, you know, you've got 6 weeks out of your life, just cut it out completely, I would say, and don't worry about it. It's only 6 weeks, because all year round, you certainly do not have to cut out dairy, because the little intolerance that you probably will have to it, and a little bit smoothie, a little bit of bloating, it's probably not worth cutting out dairy if you actually really enjoy dairy. It's not really going to make a massive difference. It certainly doesn't make a massive difference to my physique all year round. Again, it's just them little percentages when we might need it. So, but me personally, I don't have a lot of dairy. Why? Not because I'm bothered at how it makes me look all year round. It's how it makes me feel. Like, I generally feel if I include lots of dairy in my diet, things like cottage cheese or normal cheese, or if I generally include a lot of dairy, I find I'm quite fuzzy, my head's quite fuzzy, I procrastinate more, I don't feel as productive, I don't feel as good, I don't feel as energized. So for that reason, I cut out dairy. And I prefer almond milk instead of cow's milk in my tea. And it's just what I prefer. But for something, if you really enjoy dairy, I wouldn't necessarily worry too much about cutting it out all the time, only when you're trying to go for them extra few percentages. So, Sarah asks, clarification on reverse dieting. Where to get maintenance calories from, and from a deficit, how to get up to maintenance calories from a deficit. Do you just keep monitoring your weight? So to bring everybody up to speed, when people will do a reverse diet with us, it was after they've done the 6 week program, after they've done the photo shoot, and we've got them to their new body weight, they're looking good, they feel good, they've hit the goals, but we've had to bring their calories down enough so they're in a big enough deficit so they see enough fat loss, and they can actually see the result. So then we put people on a reverse diet. Now the goal of a reverse diet is to slowly bring your calories back up. You can have a bit of a quicker jump at the start, but eventually we'd like to get you to eating, this is the goal, to eating more food than what you ever have done before, eating more calories than what you have done before, but also maintain your new body weight and your new body fat percentage, and just so your new clothes sizes, but you're actually eating more food so the transformation becomes more sustainable. So what is it? It's basically, because we use weights to get people in shape in the first place, we've got them to a quite lean physique, then we bring their calories back up, and what we do with them, the amount of calories is ask them to perform better, ask them to get stronger, ask them to push themselves more, and that all is what reverse dieting is in a nutshell. Because weight training predominantly uses nutrients for energy, the more we push ourselves in the intensity and the workouts and the stronger we get, the more nutrients our body needs to maintain its new body shape. So all of a sudden, you've gone from dieting down for the photo shoot day, lifting 15 kilogram on the chest press, to now 3 months later, you're lifting 30 kilogram on the chest press, you're performing better, the amount of calories you actually need to be able to use so you perform that way. And you all of a sudden end up with some new maintenance calories of quite high from what you've done before. But how we get that right is stay disciplined. Okay? I can't say to you, right, on shoot day you weigh 10 stone and now your maintenance is going to be your maintenance calories is going to be X amount, because your body weight has changed massively. We've slowly brung yourself down, and what your maintenance was is completely different now because you've got half the body fat on you, right? Hopefully you've still got the same amount of muscle mass, but you've got half the body fat. So your new maintenance, we don't know. We have to find it, right? So we look at a lot of factors, things like obviously mood, things like energy, things like your clothes sizes, performance, everything, sleep, sex drive, everything we try to look at, and we slowly bring your calories back up, slowly get you performing better, and then all of a sudden your weight will start to stabilize. Once it's stayed stable for quite a number of weeks, if you're feeling full, if you're feeling energized, if you're happy with your clothes size and you're happy with your slowly strength increases, then we'll just hold your calories there, and that will be your new maintenance, that will be your new body shape. So I'll give you sort of an example from me. Like for years, like I thought my maintenance was around about 14 stone, but in my head, I was carrying too much body fat. So I wasn't happy in the way I was looking, but it was my justification because I used to diet down loads in one half of the year and then bulk up the other half of the year. So my maintenance when I wasn't dieting was 14 stone. So probably sitting at about 16% body fat, probably a little bit more. So mine was 40, that was my maintenance, I had to eat X amount of calories. Now, I keep my body fat percentage probably about 11%, and I feel a lot better, and I'm not bothered about having to, if I'm not building muscle or anything like that. I'm just pretty much happy with where I'm at these days. So my new maintenance weight is about 12 stone 8. I know now if I need to possibly always see 12 on a scale for me to fit into small tops, for me to fit into 34s, for me to feel energized, concentrate very easily, just for me to feel generally to feel good, that's my new maintenance. So we need to, again, it just becomes stay disciplined after the photo shoot, and we find all this out, but it only comes with commitment and discipline as well. We can't just sort of make things up without you being disciplined and committed. So Sarah, I'm sure you are going to be disciplined and committed, so we will get you back up to what we think your new body maintenance weight is. So I hope that answers your question. Sarah also asks is how many days is too many to work out? So there's no such thing really as overtraining, just under recovery. But obviously 7 days a week, so you're giving yourself no time to recover. That is so it's not too much training. It's not too much it's not too much training. You're just not giving yourself enough time to recover. So we always need at least 1 day to recover, at least 1 day. So if you're training 6 days a week, if that's what you wanted to do, you need to look at how long you're actually training for, right? So it becomes, again, there's no such thing. To answer your question simply, I'm going to carry on a little bit, but to answer your question simply, you need at least 1 day recovery, right? So, and you need to make sure that you sleep well, make sure that your sex drive is good, make sure your hunger levels are fine, make sure you feel physically good, you can concentrate, you feel full, you don't feel down or low or depressed, because these are all things that you're not recovering from your workouts effectively. So you need to work out, make sure all these things are okay, what I've just mentioned. If they're okay, we then look at obviously your calorie intake, and we look at how many training sessions that you're actually doing. So me personally, I train about 4 hours a week. So sometimes I do 5 40-minute sessions, like 35-minute sessions, 40-minute sessions, or I'll do 4-hour sessions, and give myself plenty of time to recover in there as well. But I would say as long as you have that 1 day recovery, you'll be absolutely fine. But personally, I would say for the average person, I think 4 hours a week is absolutely fine. So if you was doing 3 THQ sessions for 45 minutes, and then you could just do a good strength training session for just over an hour, maybe in the strength room or something. That would be plenty, really. Or you could do another 45-minute sessions and add in an extra half an hour. You could even do 6 days a week and do half an hour sessions. But again, how long's a piece of string? As long as you have 1 full day's recovery, that's all that matters. And as long as all them things that I've mentioned are on point, then you're absolutely fine. So making sure that you're eating enough as well. So Stephen asks, after a workout, if your muscles don't ache, what does that mean? Is your body getting used to the exercise and you're not working hard enough? Or you need to increase your weights? Now, at the start, whenever we change the workouts, or as a new starter, you will always get that ache, because weight training is adapting to stress. You're then starting and your body's under a stress, so it's got to recover. Now, we don't always need to chase that stress. We don't always need to chase that ache. It's not really that important. As long as you're absolutely pushing yourself in the sessions, if you know physically you couldn't have pushed anymore, you'll find that I struggle these days to ache. Like if you have a couple of days off, or I change the way I'm training, so I have like 3 different ways I train. When I switch from each of them times I'm training, I do get that ache. So for you guys doing the THQ sessions, it would be just when we change the monthly workouts, you'll probably ache the first week. After that, you probably won't ache as much. Doesn't mean that you're not pushing yourself, but only you can answer that question as well. So obviously we will ask you to make sure we're pushing you as much as we can, but you will physically know if you could have done more or you're just going through the motions. If you're getting to the end of the 40 seconds, the 30 seconds, the 45 seconds, and you could have done more, that's a wasted set. So regardless whether you ache or not, that's the facts. So if you get into the end of the 30 seconds and you're on 25 seconds and you physically just make it and you can't do any more, that was it, you've given your all, and you don't ache the next day, that doesn't matter, right? Because the facts are there, you've given everything you can in the session. So no, don't worry about that, but always be conscious of, can you do more, can you push more, and will you be able, can you actually push yourself that little much, or are you just going through the motions? Because going through the motions is when your results will subside, and if your results subside, your motivation subsides, and it all goes Pete Tong. So the next question is, Angela asks, as a newest member, I'm still unsure what to do in the strength room. I find it hard to commit to going with no PT direction. Would love to add in an extra session. So Angela, I have got on, there is an iPad on the wall with all different workouts that I've made for you to do. So you can either have a look through them. There's ones where you can do with me. So you can like literally watch me do the whole 45 minutes with me for a bit of accountability. Or you can watch me explain the workout. You can make a note on your phone or on the whiteboard and do it there. I would use that time just to work on strength, work on getting better. Maybe if you want to just switch off a little bit, bring your own headphones so you can focus and doing what you're doing. Again, it's just that confidence and that commitment. It's not as much as accountability as doing the main sessions, but it can give you a little bit of a different variation of training, and it can give you sort of a little bit of time to yourself for you to personally get better at what you're doing. So again, it's with anything, it's just the more you do it. Think back to when you first started the THQ sessions. I bet you could never have imagined you'd be in the position you are now, understanding everything and really progressing. But it's again with the strength room. Once you get into it and you start doing it and it becomes more into your weekly routine, that 4th session in the strength room, you become a lot better at it and you just get better and better. And you look forward to that time of maybe not having a PT with you and having yourself there, but then you look forward to the sessions when you do get that time with a PT to push yourself a little bit more. Okay. So I hope that answered everybody's questions. I will be probably doing these once a month now, these Q&A ones, to make sure we get everybody's question answered. So if you do have any more questions, hit the inquiry link on below, and I can answer them on my next podcast. Guys, have a fantastic day. Take care, and I will see you in the session soon.